Hello everybody, this is Adrian Marty. Thank you very much for checking out the 2 videos I made this fall. I know I don't make a lot of videos during the fall, but during spring I tend to make more videos, so subscribe to my channel and I'll probably have a lot more content coming next spring. During fall I'm usually very busy, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry for that. But I appreciate every single one of you for coming and listening either way, even though it's a long time between each time I get the time to make a video. Anyways, today's topic is the Game Awards. Now, the way things are going to go down is I'm going to talk a little bit about the Game Awards, which was an okay show. I mostly watched it in case of some amazing announcements like some Zelda footage, which sadly we didn't get. But I'm also interested in just seeing the general public what they voted for and people's favorite games this year, even though the Game Awards are kind of vague and it's kind of hard to really measure games based off of popularity. I mean, let's be honest, it's really a popularity contest, the whole thing. There's no professional academy like in the Academy Awards, it's just voting. Now anyways, I want to go through what my games of the year were and my most anticipated games of next year. Those are basically the 2 categories I'll be talking about. Now, most anticipated is a kind of a vague thing because we know the games we were hyped for never really come through wishing the way we thought. Like last year, a lot of people were very excited for Evolve. Now, how many people are talking about that game now? So you see, that's the problem right there. However, next year looks absolutely amazing for gaming, and that's why I do want to talk a little bit about it. So, let's just cut to the chase. The Game Awards nominated 5 games and then gave a winner. What I'm going to do is give you 5 games that are my top favorite games this year. Number 5 on my list is Ori and the Blind Forest. This is a game that I reviewed earlier this year. It's actually one of the only games I reviewed this year. Ori and the Blind Forest is a beautiful Metroidvania style game. Gorgeous graphics, amazing soundtrack. The presentation is just absolutely amazing, and it's an indie game. It started off as being developed from a small developer, but then Microsoft came in and really gave them the budget. And you look at that game, and it is big budget. Just because it's 2D, shouldn't really write it off as a AAA game. It is almost at least a AA game. It is a big thing, I think. It was nominated at the Game Awards for Best Indie Game, although that lost to Rocket League, which I think is kind of ridiculous. But I haven't played Rocket League, so I'm just not going to talk about that. I think it's kind of ridiculous. But this really holds a spot. Number 5, Game of the Year for me. Now, number 4 is Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, I haven't been a big into Metal Gear Solid games in the past. I did play Metal Gear Solid 2 earlier this year just to get into the series. I gotta say, Metal Gear Solid 5 is really different. It's really open. It's really not a whole lot of focus on story. Story may be a little weak, although I didn't play through this. I only played 20 hours of it, but I think that's enough to really make an impression. And I think the stealth, the gameplay, the presentation, everything was really, really tight. And I think it's a great swan song to the Kojima era of Metal Gear Solid. The game did win Best Adventure Game, but sadly, Kojima, he couldn't show up because fucking Konami didn't allow him! What the fuck? Spot number 3 to me is Batman Arkham Knight. Now, I know this one's very controversial. I know the game had serious issues on PC. This is actually the reason I got an Xbox One earlier this year to play that game, because the PC port was absolutely fucking atrocious! But let's be honest, man, the game was great. I liked the Batmobile. I know a lot of people complained about that, but I thought it was fun. The tank sections may be overstated or welcome a little bit, but man, you feel like Batman in this. This is bigger and grander than any of the previous games. It takes everything from the previous Batman game and just puts it all into this great, fantastic package. I love the stealth. I love the Batmobile. I like the puzzles you do with the Batmobile. I like the combat. I like everything just falls together. Great presentation. It's just a wonderful game. I don't see how Batman Arkham City managed to be nominated for Game of the Year back in its days. Well, this game barely got any nominations at all. It got nominated for, I think, Best Art Direction, didn't win that one. So that's kind of lame. Number 2. This one's also a bit controversial, but to me, it's Halo 5. Now, I know a lot of people hate the campaign. I liked it. I'm not gonna say it's the greatest thing ever, but you play a Halo game for the campaign. I've been talking about this in my previous video, so I'm just gonna leave that. It's really great. It feels like Halo, yet it feels really new, and it really is the best Halo game I've played to date. Okay, we had number 5 was Ori, number 4 is Metal Gear Solid 5, number 3 Batman Arkham Knight, and number 2 was Halo 5. Number 1 Game of the Year to me goes to Rise of the Tomb Raider. This game is absolutely incredible. It is a continuation of the Tomb Raider game from 2013, and it builds up from that. You could argue it's a little too familiar, but it does actually fresh things up later on. It is a long game, it is excellent, and the fact that they didn't really change things up too much, it's just a testament to how perfect the game was originally. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's a continuation, it's grander, it's bigger, it's more epic, the visuals are gorgeous, and it really tops Uncharted to me. Really. The first one I thought was just as good as the Uncharted games. This one surpasses the Uncharted games. It's got the climbing, it's got the shooting like Uncharted, but it's also got the stealth and the semi-open world and the crafting and the upgrading. It's got so much more to it. I gotta say, Uncharted 4, I'm really excited for that next year, but it's got some competition, I'm just saying. So that's my list. You might see I was missing out some big games like Fallout 4 and Witcher 3, which I did play those, I did enjoy those, but I usually don't get crazy over open world games like those. Now let's talk about the Game Awards and how the Game of the Year went down there. The 5 nominated games were Bloodborne on the PS4, Metal Gear Solid 5, which I also nominated, Fallout 4, Witcher 3, and Super Mario Maker. Now, I think Super Mario Maker is a little out of place. I like that game, I bought it, I even bought it with the amiibo, it's really cool. But it's not a Game of the Year candidate, it's not at that level. It really is just, you can make Super Mario levels, and it's fun, I like it. And I get that you need some Nintendo representation, but in that case, you could have gone with Splatoon maybe. I heard more positive about that, but oh well. Then there's the Sony representation with Bloodborne, but there really should be some Xbox representation there. I think this goes a little into the slight bias in the media that's kind of turning down Xbox, and it's kind of sad. I'm seeing Xbox being accepted a little more, but the judgments are still being a little unfair. But overall, these are just opinions, and what can you do about it? I think they should have nominated maybe Rise of the Tomb Raider, at least, even if you're not an Xbox, even if you're an Xbox hater, you really cannot turn your back to Rise of the Tomb Raider because it's coming to PS4 next year. So even if you hate the Xbox, you can't turn your back to it, man. And I mean, I think even Halo 5 should really be nominated, seeing how I think it's the best Halo game ever. But I digress. Now the winner ended up being Witcher 3, and I congratulate it. I don't agree with the choice, but hey, it was a good game. I liked it. I liked it more than Fallout, that's all I can say. So I would have liked a little more Xbox representation in the Game of the Year awards, but what can you do? It's opinions. Now let's go to a slightly more vague part of this video where I'll be talking about most anticipated games of next year. The Game Awards didn't have a segment for this, they just mentioned it. They did have 5 nominees and a winner, but before that, let me give you my list of my top 5 most anticipated games of next year. Number 5, to me, is Scalebound. This is a game made by Platinum Games. They know how to do action games, they know how to do over the top, and combining that with some light RPG open world elements, I think this could be something truly unique. This started off actually as a Wii game where you could use the Wiimote to control your dragons in certain ways. But hey, it works here. You can command your dragon to kill bigger enemies, you can help out on the ground. And I think this sort of, the sense of scale, that you are small, your dragon is big, you're fighting small enemies, you're fighting big enemies. I like that kind of back and forth, if you know what I mean. There's also like some light RPG elements. I hope it's not too heavy on the RPG side, because I'm not too big on RPG games that, have a lot of loot and upgrading and all that stuff. But I mean, that's one thing I like about this, is that it really looks like it's going to be a lot of action focus. It's not just going to be slash 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 upgrade. So I like that. Number 4 on my list is Uncharted 4. This is a game that's probably going to make me want to buy on the PS4 next year. It looks truly amazing. The graphics look great. The gameplay we got so far looks really grand, really open, a lot bigger than the previous Uncharted games. You got destructible environments, and it just looks dynamic, and it looks incredibly fun. Number 3 on my list is Quantum Break, an Xbox One exclusive from Remedy, the guys who made Alan Wake. Now, I actually just finished Alan Wake, and I thought it was a fantastic game with great story and great acting, great pacing, great screenwriting, great, everything that makes a great movie or a TV show great. It had that. I think we're going to see the same thing with Quantum Break. We're going to have a fantastic presentation and a fantastic story. On top of that, I think gameplay-wise, it does look really spot on. It looks really current gen. The graphics look absolutely gorgeous, and I think Quantum Break is really Game of the Year material right there. Now, number 2 on my spot, this might be very surprising, but it's Crackdown 3 on the Xbox One. Now, the reason I'm putting this up is because I've been wanting to have a new Crackdown game for a very long time. I played a bit of Crackdown 1 and 2, and I thought those were great. And it's not just that it's another Crackdown, but it's revolutionizing games with cloud technology. Now, it's a bit of a risky thing to put this on my list, because I know it could turn out to not work with the destruction that they're trying to do in the multiplayer, but they are only bringing it into the multiplayer. It obviously is an experimental game. It could go terribly wrong, but if everything goes after plan, I think that multiplayer mode could be incredibly fun, and we're getting a single player mode that's just good old Crackdown on top of that. So I just cannot wait to just play that and then jump into the multiplayer, destroy buildings. It's like, this is something I wanted for years. I cannot believe how just over the top, how crazy that looks. This is the first time when I saw that footage. This is the first time that I said, damn, that is next gen. When I saw those buildings falling apart, I knew this would not have been possible a few years ago. This is the future, I gotta say. It's just, and even if this one flops, it's definitely a foreshadowing of what's to come, and Microsoft might be making a brand new IP from ground up with using this kind of destructible environments, and I just cannot wait to see what they're making in the future. Anyways, the Crackdown 3 is a fantastic first step into that future. Now, you might think I'm favoring Xbox One a little too much, and yes, I'm not gonna lie. I obviously think Xbox has the best lineup of games coming next year. That's just being completely honest, and it's an opinion. You might have different games that you're looking forward to. Those are mine. Now, number 1 on my list is actually not an Xbox One exclusive. It's not even on Xbox One. The game I'm talking about is No Man's Sky. No, I'm just joking. It's The Legend of Zelda for the Wii U. And what can I say, man? It's another Zelda. Zelda to me is always like killer, no filler. And this one brings an open world to it, which is not necessarily the reason that I'm excited. I'm just excited for more Zelda. I mean, Zelda always just nails it. They always bring something new to the table. They always just completely redefine what you think about Zelda every single time. Even Skyward Sword, which was a little bit disappointing, even that one just completely redefined it, totally took everything you knew about Zelda, turned it on its head, and I think this one's gonna do the same thing, especially considering this is the first time they've built a new Zelda game from ground up, not using the previous engine. Other than that, I can't really say much about it. We know very little about it. We don't even have a name. It's been delayed once. I hope to God it's not being delayed again. But there you go. Those are my 5 most anticipated games from next year. Now, this list could look totally different from my Game of the Year favorites. Next year, it's probably going to look very different. Like I said, games you look forward to, don't always end up what you think they are, and then there's something else that shows up that ends up being a lot better. So we'll see what happens. Then again, like, who's talking about Evolve? You know, who talked about Watch Dogs at the end of 2013? You know, so take it all with a grain of salt. And I will also take it with a grain of salt the Game Awards nominees for most anticipated game of next year, which were Uncharted 4, which I also nominated. That's a PS4 exclusive. No Man's Sky, that's a PS4 exclusive. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's a PS4 exclusive. The Last Guardian, that's a PS4 exclusive. And Quantum Break, that's an Xbox One exclusive. So there you have 4 out of 5 games are PS4 exclusives. That's biased. That is biased, definitely. I don't know another way to put it. There's not even a Nintendo game. Where is Zelda? Like, where is Zelda on that list? I think that list is very wrong. But then again, it's anticipation, it's hype. It's not, you know, it's incredibly hard to know what a game is going to be until you've played it. But the winner basically ended up being No Man's Sky, which I think is incredibly overhyped. And I can explain, it's simply like, I thought the game looked great the first time I saw it, but then when I heard the game was being developed by an indie studio, and the fact that it was being developed by 10 people made me kind of turned off of it. This is not a PlayStation hate thing. It's just genuinely the game doesn't look good. I've seen a lot of footage of it because I've wanted to know what you're doing in this game, and it's just a lot of walking and shooting rocks and not really doing anything. And it's made by 10 people. It's like, an indie studio can make great games, but this is just too big for an indie studio. If this was developed by Bethesda or Rockstar, I would be right on board. But it's just, it seems very grindy. It could be fun for a weekend, but it's just overhyped, and I think that kind of kills it. But only time will tell, you know, if any of these games are going to be any good or not. I didn't think Last Guardian is not going to be that great. I think it's way overhyped. It's not even developed by a team like Go. But I digress. Time will tell how these games are going to turn out. Other than that, though, the Game Awards, I was expecting to see some new footage of the new Zelda game, which was the reason why I watched it. I mean, I didn't watch it for the awards. Who's watching it for the awards? And they didn't really show off anything from Zelda. They did have a Iwata tribute, which I thought was really touching. Man, I can't believe that Iwata's gone. It's tough, man. It's just, you know, he was younger than Miyamoto. You know that? God. Well, there you have it. Game Awards, it was okay. A little too much weight was put on PlayStation. But that's just, it's opinions, you know, that's all. I mean, I made it very clear that I'd like some more Xbox representation, even some more Nintendo representation there. Anyways, thank you all for watching this video. This has been Adrian Marty. Follow me on Twitter at Adrian_passion, and I'll keep you updated on stuff. And hopefully it won't be too long till next video I make. I'll see you later.